Jimmy Kimmel is returning to air, Disney announces. Let's take a look.
This was a community standing up for the rights of Jimmy Kimmel and all people who speak in public, entertainers and journalists and all of them. And it worked, at least with the head of Disney. And it makes good sense because they would have won in court. One thing that gets lost in this, you do not lose your First Amendment rights because you have a broadcast license. Supreme Court has been clear on this. The government cannot take your license because of speech they don't like.
Yeah, I mean, there are degrees to this. There are still types of speech and different classes of people in the eyes of this administration. Those who this administration consider to be discardable, right? Migrants, for example. This is a major corporation that has the financial power to push back against the administration. And I was very worried, very concerned that this major corporation would actually cave to the administration's demands, no matter how unreasonable or unjust they may be. It turns out there is enough pushback from the public that the major corporation decided probably not the best idea to capitulate to the Trump administration's demands. Having said that, the attacks against free speech did not start with Jimmy Kimmel. The attacks on the First Amendment did not begin with Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel simply was seen by enough members of the public as an overreach. The attacks against the First Amendment have been ongoing around pro-Palestinian advocacy, even under the Biden administration, and certainly escalated under the Trump administration. And it is a real shame that mainstream outlets did not adequately cover that when it was happening. It's really frustrating. So remember, the fight continues. So it is upon all of us to tie back this attack on the First Amendment, this clear-cut attack on the First Amendment, back to the clear-cut attack that is ongoing against pro-Palestinian advocacy. We have to try and get people to recognize that this isn't just about Disney capitulating. This isn't just we cannot rely exclusively on big corporations to fight back. Yeah, we vote with our dollars. People are boycotting Disney and canceling their streaming subscriptions. I know a lot of people did that. Google searches for cancel Disney Plus and cancel Hulu have spiked in the days since the network suspension. Some people were stating that they lost almost $5 billion in revenue in a very short period of time. I'm not so certain that this was part of the pressure, but I mean, I'm sure it helped. Or stock price, not revenue. Sorry. Yeah, their stock price fell. They lost $5 billion in market cap. So they lost value, not revenue directly. But I'm sure they lost some revenue, which is why they lost value as well. Do you predict Nexstar and Sinclair will air Kimmel, or will they continue the cancellation? I can see them continuing their cancellation because they're much more right-wing and they have more to lose. They can't appear to be resisting against the administration in any capacity because of the FCC and because of the merger that is imminent for Nexstar. Sinclair is already incredibly right-wing. Nexstar is already incredibly right-wing. And on top of that, they have a mega merger that's coming up. TPUSA spokesperson Andrew Colvett is saying Disney and ABC caving and allowing Kimmel back on the air is not surprising, but it's their first mistake to make. Nexstar and Sinclair do not have to make that same choice. Once again, I am, not so shocked, but still very much annoyed that this is the major mover and shaker event for a lot of people. I don't want to be the friend who's too woke, but these are consequential decisions being made, which is why I took it seriously at the time. The fight is far larger than Jimmy Kimmel, okay? If your goal is to defend the First Amendment, if your goal is to defend free speech, you must understand that this extends far beyond just Jimmy Kimmel losing its time slot. But it's good. It's an eye-opening moment for a lot of people. A lot of people who don't really give a shit about Jimmy Kimmel either, by the way. But they saw, it's not like Jimmy Kimmel had this many loyal fans, myself included. I don't give a shit, right? But the reason why a lot of people got mad, even conservatives, as a matter of fact, got mad. Ted Cruz was like, this is crazy. This is mafia.
And I got to say, that's right out of Goodfellas. That's right out of a mafioso coming into a bar going, nice bar you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. So again, I like Brendan Carr, but we should not be in this business. We should denounce it. It's fine to say what Jimmy Kimmel said was deplorable. It was disgraceful, and he should be off air, but we shouldn't be threatening government power to force him off air. That's a real mistake.
The reason why they were doing that, the reason why they were saying that was because there are still Americans who value the First Amendment. There are still Americans who value freedom of speech. The Trump administration has made a calculation that Americans that value the First Amendment and free speech also are very racist. So they're racist enough to not give a shit when it is eroded at the point of immigration enforcement and it is eroded at the point of pro-Palestinian advocacy, right? And they have been somewhat successful in that endeavor. They have revoked student visas. They have denied visas to people, not on the basis of like being too critical of Israel, but also on the basis of like, being critical of Charlie Kirk even, right? That's a real thing that's taking place. So it is upon us to remind people that this is not like this is a victory that should galvanize us, and we should use the renewed enthusiasm to continue pushing back against this administration's unfavorable policies that represent a change in the way that we value the First Amendment, that represent an erosion of the freedom of speech.
We have a right to free speech in this country. The president supports it. It is protected by our beautiful Constitution. And Americans should not cower in fear. They should rise up in courage to continue speaking the truth.
What do you think about what you're hearing from the White House there as we just get this news that Jimmy Kimmel will return to air tomorrow night?
Right. Well, see what the White House says. Everybody should speak up except the ones that the president doesn't like. He just barked at my former colleague, Jonathan Karl. Maybe we'll come after you. Because
yeah, this is the thing, okay? When it's a white dude who's rich, who's a Hollywood guy, and he gets silenced like this, he gets suppressed like this, then all of a sudden it is a reminder for a lot of people that are also in the same position, if not as popular as Jimmy Kimmel, to go, oh shit, they're going to come after us too. Does that make sense? Jimmy Kimmel is not expected to have made any compromise to bring us back his show following the huge backlash that Disney got. Jimmy will say what Jimmy wants to, says one source about his show tomorrow. Trump has not responded to that so far. And the update on this is that Sinclair Broadcasting Group is still refusing to play Jimmy Kimmel's show when it restarts tomorrow. And the broadcaster had previously demanded an apology from Kimmel and a donation to Turning Point USA for them to broadcast the show. So there's that. Your prediction was right, by the way. Yeah, Sinclair Broadcast Group, which owns 31 ABC affiliates, says it will continue to preempt Jimmy Kimmel's show. Beginning Tuesday night, Sinclair will be preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live across our ABC affiliate stations and replacing it with news programming. Discussions with ABC are ongoing as we evaluate the show's potential return. Yeah, I told you, these guys are already right-wing, and they love being a part of the Trump admin's network of influence. So they're willing to take this like symbolic stance against big Disney. Everyone's a goddamn chud.